Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Ohio State Sport Management YouTube channel. Today's guest is class of 2013 graduate Richard Greene, who is currently an assistant AD of compliance at Auburn University. Thank you for joining us today, Richard.
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
Yeah, so our first question is pretty broad. Can you just give us a quick description of your career journey so far and what your responsibilities are at Auburn?
Okay, yeah, no problem. I'll start with, from the time at Ohio State. I was a master's student 2012, 2013. Just kind of went around. I think from Ohio State, I got an internship with the NCAA and enforcement, processing what we call secondary violations, minor violations in Indianapolis. From there, I got my first really full-time gig in Hawaii. It's pretty nice as a compliance coordinator, working for the University of Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. Did that for about 5 years. It was a great, fun experience. Got to experience a lot of the department besides just compliance because it was so small. Just met a lot of people. Just got to experience a lot on my own. Learn to be a little bit more independent. Deal with low resource institutions. It was pretty nice though. Great people. And for about a year now, so starting about 2019, I've been here at Auburn, and much the same function. Just a little bit more responsibility still in the compliance office. And here we're kind of siloed into teams a little bit. So I work with track, tennis, swimming, and volleyball. So
Cool.
Olympic sports here. Provide interpretive guidance. We'll investigate violations. We'll do everything. Pretty much help the coaches in any way we can. Just make sure the program is running on track. It's kind of what a compliance officer does.
Cool. So you got your master's at Ohio State. You went to law school, correct, as well?
Yeah, I went to law school just before Ohio State, so about
Okay.
the 3 years preceding coming to Ohio State there. Law school back home in Texas is where I'm from. And then I went there and then came back, came up to Ohio State.
What kind of things do you enjoy most about your role at Auburn?
What I enjoy most, I like being depended on, which is nice because in an organization this big, it's easy to get lost. And similar to Ohio State, it's easy to get lost in the shuffle.
Sure.
But when you're a compliance person, they come to you, give you respect, which is nice. They know you're not their boss, but they know you should know what you're talking about. So it's good to be depended on, whether it's helping a person get eligible for classes or eligible for school, get admitted, helping them with financial aid questions, anything like that that's essential to the program. It's great to be depended on, and it's great to come through. And conversely, it's not as good when you don't come through. But the challenge is fun.
Yeah, and what are some of the challenges in your role? Some of the things you come across on a kind of day-to-day basis.
Sure, I would say the biggest challenges are time crunches. When there's an event coming up, or there's what we call certification deadlines, where in August or December, where you're just trying to get people into school. You're working with the NCAA, what we call the Eligibility Center, formerly the Clearinghouse,
Okay.
as far as making sure students are academically eligible, athletically eligible, as amateurism-wise eligible. And so you have a little bit of time crunch there in August and December, where you just have to kind of make it happen for your programs, provided they're bringing in good kids. And so anytime you have a time crunch or anyone needs something immediately before competition, before school starts, I always find that to be the most challenging time of year.
Sure.
But other than that, with adequate time and preparation, I think it's a job that anyone who's willing to do it can do it.
Yeah, it's always great when people give you time to do your job thoroughly and professionally, right?
There you go.
How's COVID kind of presented any new challenges aside from kind of trying to do your job from home sometimes?
For sure. I mean, COVID's spaced us apart. We used to walk over in the next office. If you had a question, I can walk up to the business office and, hey, when does this due for you guys? Or, when do we need to do this federal government reports, for example? Or you can walk down the hall, talk to your coaches. The athletes had better access to you during COVID. So if they had questions, the athlete experience is probably the most essential part of what we're doing. And so they really don't have access to you in the same way that they had before. You can't go out and watch practice. You can't make those personal connections with COVID. So you just try to, use technology, same technology we're using now.
Yeah.
So you get your face in front of them. You use telephone, you use emails, you use videos. You do whatever you can to try to bridge the gap. But I think what COVID's done the most to us is kind of separate us.
Gotcha. Yeah, totally. I think everyone's feeling that a little bit. Who's influenced you the most in your career, and how have they been able to do that? And it could be a few people.
Yeah, it could be a few people for sure. I mean, definitely, I would say Dr. Brian Turner in the sports program. Just giving me the opportunity to come and just learn and give me access to the Ohio State family and the faculty, the athletics department. I mean, just the fact that he gave me a chance to come up there and build those connections. Ohio State's pretty much been useful in pretty much everywhere I've gone. There's always someone who knows somebody. So I would say, just from a practical standpoint, Dr. Turner's kind of been the key to life. You don't have to tell him. Oh, I guess it's going to be on video, right?
That's awesome. Yeah, he'll watch this.
Yeah, he's going to watch it. Yeah, Dr. Turner's been amazing. He's a great resource. Other than that, just people in the business. Obviously, Ohio State has a great head of compliance, Doug Archie. Just watching how he composes himself, and the hard times, tough times. Just knowing that if you do it right, you can get through. You can get through anything, but at the same time, you have to put it on your staff to be prepared for those moments. So he's great in preparation, but he's also pretty great in crisis too. So it's good to watch what he does.
Awesome. Thanks for that. I lose you for a second?
We lost you for a second. We're good though.
Sorry. So what have been some of the highlights of your career so far?
Oh, I have to say, if I was telling anybody the story, I think Hawaii would stand out entirely. But definitely getting to work at the national office and making bridges and faces and making acquaintance with a lot of people who make big time decisions in our industry, whether it's decisions like what we have right now, whether to have seasons, what the rules are made, people who approve waivers, for example, allowing students in special circumstances to either compete or receive aid, things of that nature. So making those connections at the national office was pretty awesome experience. It's definitely honored to be up in Indianapolis. But outside of that, obviously, going to Hawaii, getting far away, it was just kind of daunting, between me and my family. Didn't get to see them much, or call them
Sure.
either late at night, when they're sleeping, I'm up, and when I'm sleeping, they're up. So about a 5-hour time difference, 6 hours sometimes of the year. So that was kind of interesting.
Gotcha.
But just being out there, getting to learn totally different culture, different people. But at the same time, everyone makes a lot of talk about the differences, but in a lot of ways we're the same. Just you get along, you enjoy your time. But Hawaii was definitely a special place, just in climate, geography, everything. Man, it was what you think it would be.
No winters.
No, not a single day under about 59 degrees.
That's amazing. Cool. So one of the big topics that we frequently speak about in our courses currently and professionally, honestly, is name, image, likeness, and those kind of the new rules coming down soon. Can you talk about how the proposed rules will affect a compliance office like yours, and what are you guys doing to prepare for the possible changes?
That's awesome. You should ask that, because I was just on a meeting yesterday with the SEC, our conference here, Southeastern Conference. Mm-hmm. We discussing issues like that, things we can do to prepare. And then we also have our independent task force here at Auburn. I'm sure all the other schools do as well, as they try to prepare for this it's a big change in our model potentially here, with athletes being able to capitalize on their own, like you said, name, image, or likeness. So to answer your question, I think what we're trying to do right now from a rule standpoint, and from what we call locally the institutional monitoring standpoint, is kind of toe this balance between the athlete's freedom to negotiate and use their own name, image, and likeness, between the association's the fundamental need to make sure that we're all competing on a level playing field.
Sure.
So the constant discussion is, to what extent, can we as an association intervene? That's probably the wrong word. But to what extent, what are our tools, what are our resources to make sure our model is still the same, fundamentally the same, while allowing the athletes to, kind of move forward in their direction and capitalize on the name, image, and likeness. So it's a tight discussion. A lot of things going on at the federal level, state levels, institutional levels. So I honestly, for at least a good year and a half, 2 years now, we've been in kind of a wait and see mode, but trying to track along and make sure that we're ready when the new rules come down, and whenever the federal government gets involved, that we're ready to respond appropriately.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of people are planning, but there's so many nuances that are going to go into it. It's kind of one of those things, a little bit of feeling it out when it finally comes down.
Exactly. It's just definitely just really hard to predict at this point. But we want something spare for everybody, and we'll see what happens.
Cool. So you finished your law degree, and then you chose to come to Ohio State to pursue a sport management master's degree. Well, what made you choose Ohio State in particular to do your master's at?
I mean, to put it plainly, size. Ohio State's probably one of the largest athletics departments in the country. Size and opportunity. So you knew, one, that if you go to a place like Ohio State, you'll get an opportunity to intern, and I'll come back to this later. You get an opportunity to intern, volunteer, do something in some department in some capacity. So that was more of a gamble. But you knew after you left Ohio State, there'd likely be a network, a family out there that could help you in your professional career once you get out of the program. And I found both of those to be true.
Cool. Do you have a favorite memory from your time in the sport management program?
Yeah, it's funny. I was trying to think about this one. I can't think of anything one highlight in particular. That I was like, whoa, it was, it's schoolwork, you know what I mean? You're doing classwork, you're in class, and the highlights answering questions.
Sure.
But I think one of the things about the sports management program is it's integrating your real experience, your volunteer experience, the things you need to do in the program, and trying to integrate that with the academic classroom side of things. So, sure. But if I had to say a memory, not to answer your question, answer your question kind of roundabout, is just the people I was able to connect with in the class. Like a lot of people I still talk to. There's another Ohio State. There's a few Ohio State people, I believe, here at Auburn. So it's just odd, when you get to meet so many people who come from the same place.
Sure, yeah, Kendra's down there, and I'm sure there's a few others.
That's right, Kendra Will. Yeah, she works in the communications department. So I already knew her coming in, so that was really great.
Yeah, that helps a ton, I'm sure. What is your advice? You kind of touched on this a little bit, but what's your advice to current grad students in the program?
Yeah, like I said, I was going to come back to this. It's just really get that, obviously, being in class and being alert, being attentive, paying attention to the academic side of things is always important. So I don't want to diminish that at any time. But practically speaking, you gotta put things in action. You got to get out there, intern, meet decision makers too. Not just people at your level, but meet people in the department. Don't be afraid to say hi. Shake Gene Smith's hand one day. I know it's crazy because I was too scared to do it when I was there. I was too scared to really approach him. But looking back, I was like, man, I really should have said hi and got my name in front of him. Things like that. You just never know down the line who can help you.
Sure.
Or who might need your help. Either way. So get out there, work, learn the business, learn the craft, and then meet as many people as you can.
Cool. Yeah, that's definitely been a theme in a lot of these interviews. Is everyone's had multiple hands that have helped them through their careers, and I think people are pretty willing to give of their time. If people ask.
That's right.
Cool. So, what advice would you give to students entering the job market right now? Obviously, college athletics, budgets have been affected pretty heavily by COVID-19. But what kind of advice would you give them as they're maybe graduating in the spring or in the summer this coming year?
Exactly. No, it's tough. I remember graduating. The economy's been up and down for quite a while now, so it's nothing particularly new. Now, COVID's a new challenge because now people aren't hiring for sure in the college athletics departments, at least not at the rate they were before.
Sure.
But I would say that you have to have kind of personal faith and ethic about you that things are going to get better, and I truly believe things are going to get better. I think at some point here we'll solve COVID and departments will open up and we'll hopefully resume business here. So while you're doing it, the best thing you can do, because there's a lot of students who are going to be looking to get into business, is, keep increasing your profile. Try to get those experiences in departments, try to keep making those connections. So when the gates open up again, the starting line goes off, you're at the front of the line. When people start hiring again, I think departments always need help, including ours. Always need help. They always need somebody who's willing to come in. And I think there's always a place in athletics for someone who cares and someone's willing to do the work.
Yeah, that's awesome advice, man. That's great advice. And I think you're right. When the floodgates open, you kind of got to be ready to kind of take on whatever's out there.
That's right.
Cool. So our next question. So what role do you see college athletic departments and really, other orgs within the sport industry in general playing and furthering the conversation and making, real positive change when it comes to race and equality? Obviously a huge topic of conversation this past year in particular.
Sure. I mean, just speaking from our experience here at Auburn, our athletic director, Alan Greene's been, one of the big faces at the forefront of this discussion on race and equality and social justice. And just taking personal responsibility and being informed about the issues as well as where you feel appropriate, being honest and open about it. I would say college athletics departments in general, diverse environments. So and just from a personal well-being perspective, and some people might say recruiting or image perspective, you have to be on top of it because you're a diverse environment and you've got constituents who really care, from a number of different angles. So this will be an issue you'll see going forward. I can't foresee a stop to college athletics departments having some statements or some role or responsibility in discussion race and equality in America.
Sure.
That said, I think just besides the substantive part of it, what should be done, I think there's a whole nother discussion about how we should discuss race and equality in America. And I think just teaching young people, our responsibility, teaching young people how to respond, not so much how or what to say, but how do I put it? How to be respectful of other people's opinions, how to listen, how to discuss. So there's a lot to be said about, just being appropriate and trying to give everybody their place in the discussion, and then developing your own ideas at the same time.
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing that. I definitely think that college athletic departments are some of the most diverse places on campus. I think it's an awesome place for that conversation to be had and those kind of lessons to be learned as well.
Absolutely.
Cool. So moving from a pretty serious topic, obviously, to a very, very not serious topic, but just a few fun questions for you. So during your time in Columbus, what was your favorite food or restaurant to hit up?
Man, there's some Egyptian place that I used to get delivered from all the time. I had like chicken fingers and French fries. Failing to remember that, I'm gonna go with generic Hungry Howie's pizza. It was always about the butter and garlic crust. So fortunately, nice. I have a Hungry Howie's here at Auburn, so it's something I've been able to continue. It's been a long time, yeah, but since 2013. But it was good to get back at it. So yeah, I'll say Hungry Howie's probably the best.
You might be thinking about King's, Kings, maybe. I'm not
sure.
That
sounds right. That sounds right. Yeah, that place.
Not sure if they're around anymore.
Oh man, bailed me out many a night.
That's awesome. So you talked about some of the professionals that kind of helped you out along the way, but who's your role model in life?
Well, life. So I mean, I think it starts with your family, mom and dad. Like it's a pretty generic answer, but there are people.
No, that's pretty typical answer.
Scientifically speaking, you're probably most model after. So so definitely, my parents, what they've done for me and how they've been able to survive. Besides that, I mean, just pretty much anyone out there that just does things the right way and respects people, takes care of themselves, and there's a lot of individuals I want to put one on the other.
Cool, very cool. No, mom and dad are definitely a popular answer for sure to that question, which is a good thing, right?
Yeah, right on.
So who was your favorite sports team growing up as a kid?
Oh man, I'm embarrassed to say this now. If you would have asked me 3 years ago, I'd have said Dallas Cowboys with some bass in my voice. I'm like, Dallas Cowboys, but
maybe not this year.
the Cowboys, we are coming back. We're going through some technical difficulties, but we're gonna come back. You can put this on record.
All right,
we'll be back.
Got to give Dak that contract.
Yeah. I mean, the man's earned it.
Well, so similarly, what is your all-time favorite sports memory? Like either something you got to participate in or witness or anything?
Oh man, I was going to give you a Cowboys memory, but now that you mentioned that, there was a game last year, Auburn, Alabama. Auburn, Alabama was played here at Auburn. My dad came from Texas to come watch the game, and it was just a terrific game. And it's a back and forth game, and Auburn, Alabama misses the field goal late, I believe, and Auburn ends up winning. And it was amazing. It had a lot of implications. Of course, Alabama didn't make it back to the big rivalry game. Alabama didn't make it back to the championship. And my dad got to come on the field.
Oh, that's cool.
Took a picture of him in front of the scoreboard. So I just couldn't I couldn't picture a better like finish,
Yeah,
for
that's an
him
awesome memory.
coming down there. So that
That's
was pretty.
cool. That'd be a fun game as just as a general sports fan to get to attend.
Yeah, that was awesome. I was a compliance person. Of course, fans aren't supposed to rush the field, and schools incur heavy fines for that. So, but so
That's
probably
don't put that
incriminating.
picture anywhere.
Yeah, it's not a good look for a compliance person saying that's what he did. But at the same time, it was a special memory, and I'll stand by it.
That's awesome. That's so good to hear that your dad got to experience that.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
So if you weren't working in athletics or compliance, what would you be doing professionally?
Wow. I mean, I'd imagine something between law, some divergence or convergence of law and sport.
Okay.
But it's hard to say what I'd be doing. I had tunnel vision. I was just fortunate enough to the thing I always wanted to do was the thing I did. I either wanted to be either wanted to work for some sports organization or be a referee, or I've always tried to do something involving sports. It's hard to imagine, but if I weren't working in compliance, I think it would still be something in sports.
So something in sports. That's cool. That you're a lucky guy that you've always known kind of your path. I don't think a lot of people can say that.
No, I don't think anyone with a clear conscience can say they knew they wanted to do athletics compliance, from the moment they started school. But I did know I wanted to work in sports in some capacity.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, that was our last question, Richard. Just wanted to, thank you for your time today. You have some great advice and some awesome experiences. Just really appreciate your time. And thank you everyone else for tuning into the SMA YouTube channel today. We'll see you guys again soon.